Greetings. My name is Teresa San Luis Teller. Welcome to my Tuning Out Stigma presentation, which I established in 2016, collaborating with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, Southwestern Illinois. As I detail my mental health journey, I play original music after each of the 5 phases of my recovery: dark days, acceptance, treatment, coping skills, and successes, hopes, and dreams. My dark days. My first hospitalization was in 1999. I felt lonely and lost when I took a semester of school from the University of Notre Dame sophomore year. I lived away from my family, whom I felt alienated from. My parents didn't want to support me to return to Notre Dame. I pushed myself hard, working as a waitress and UPS preloader, in total about 60 hours a week. Deprived of sleep and highly stressed, my mental health was deteriorating. When I returned to Notre Dame, I thought my arrival would be a relief. Rather, my relationships I clung to and the situations I encountered became disastrous and fell apart. It felt extremely difficult to function and made for a severe downward spiral. Imagine trying to manage racing thoughts swarming through one's head. Then, the thoughts themselves were derailed and disrupted into broken fragments, so that when I tried to talk to people, I couldn't complete a sentence. I thought people could read my mind, and, petrified, I couldn't look them in the eye because I was frightened for them to know my thoughts and feelings. Intrusive OCD thoughts disturbed me. I felt ashamed and embarrassed of various unwanted thoughts and emotions taking over my brain in an uncontrolled, cyclical way. Different personalities of people I knew came over me. To this day, I can't explain why it happened. It almost felt more secure to wear various people's personalities than present my bare, insecure, confused, and anguished self. Not knowing who or how I was going to be around others, I felt extremely vulnerable, exposed, and scared in their presence. Trying to survive Notre Dame was extremely difficult with these circumstances, let alone the high workload and expectations placed upon students. My second hospitalization was in 2001. I graduated from Notre Dame and promptly started a newspaper internship as general assignment reporter in West Virginia. I was not stable at that point with my medication. I did not have an established support system of clinicians to help me. Within a month, my mother received a phone call from a supervising editor who informed her they were concerned about my health and safety, that she needed to come out and pick me up. With my mother and stepfather present, they fired me, saying it took me too long to write my stories and for them to edit my stories. It was devastating. But I knew I was not well enough, even though I struggled to hide the debilitating symptoms during my employment there. In my broken state, I returned home and at some point stopped taking my medications. My mother transported me to the ER where I heard voices and did cartwheels down the hallway. Then they admitted me into the behavioral ward. I believed I was on a reality TV show, thought I was Jesus Christ for a few grandiose minutes, and became convinced my life was like the movie Truman Show. For most of the long 2 weeks, I was heavily drugged with medications and thought my stay there was as a contestant of a hidden camera reality TV show. When I thought I lost the competition, I wanted to go home and insisted on it to the point of getting physically aggressive with staff who carried me to my room. My third hospitalization occurred in 2014. For years since 2001, I was heavily medicated and suffered debilitating anxiety attacks. Due to the advice from someone I thought was a friend with a psychiatrist's approval, I stopped taking my medications. I tapered off one by one the medications. I lost a lot of weight and remarkably felt more alive and happy to not worry about taking meds, and my anxiety attacks had ceased at that point. I was earning straight A's from graduate school while working 2 part-time jobs. However, my health took a severe turn toward insanity soon enough. Suddenly, I flunked 2 papers, and I was failing my part-time job at a retirement community. I only slept perhaps a handful of hours in a sick total of 3 weeks. I only slept perhaps so much that my brain could not even rest even when I tried to sleep. Needing to recover well enough to return to work, I struggled to find a normal sleeping pattern, and my obsession to have it back again to resume work and school hindered that goal. In 2016 was my dark days as well. Since 2002, I suffered OCD anxiety attacks that emerged in my brain at age 23. I was acutely aware of the bizarre nature of the OCD intrusive thoughts that I was experiencing. For example, I would see a glass of cranberry juice and worry that's how much blood I would shed one day in agony and pain. Or I would worry about the cutting skills of my husband on the vegetables in the kitchen to be the chopping skills of the doctor that would perform my C-section of twins. I was once frozen with fear at work throwing away a plastic knife. I worried, what if I were responsible for the disposal of 600 tons of plastic knives? These irrational thoughts overwhelmed me so much and are psychotic delusions that made me panic. I could hardly function because these thoughts felt real, as if they would come true. I would be in bed for hours trying to make them go away at home. When I worked full-time for 15 years at nursing homes, I was struggled with the torment. Though I'd suffered them for years, in 2016, they eventually became so severe, interfering with my work and personal life, that I felt there was nothing to look forward to in life except the recurrent anxiety attacks, and I really wanted to die. I wrote in an email to my mentor, I'm going to die a miserable virgin with a messed up head. My 4th hospitalization was in 2019. I got stuck on thoughts quite often at my full-time job as activity director at a memory care unit, as my job was stressful with an unreasonable supervisor. I thought my thoughts out loud in my head numerous times before I would accept and believe them. Also, when I found out I was pregnant with twins, it thrust me into mania. My hormones and emotions were a roller coaster experience.